I'm playing a game that came out in 2022, but it's had quite a significant update. It is Cult of the Lamb Unholy Alliance. So, Cult of the Lamb, as we know, developed by Massive Monster from Melbourne. It's a dungeon crawler slash town management sim where you are the lamb and you run a cult, and you must become stronger and stronger with your cult in order to defeat the big bad. And I think no, I don't think I talked about it on the show, but I've talked about it in a lot of places. I was gunning hard for this game when it came out and before it came out, and I will live and die by this game. I love it very much. So, with the new update, the Unholy Alliance, it introduces couch co-op only. Only couch co-op, no online. It is purely local, and it is between the lamb and the goat. And with that, you are both. It feels very right, but it also doesn't feel like they've changed too much to fit in a second player. You are running the cult as well as going through these dungeons, but it's two of you now, and the fighting in like the dungeon crawling when it comes to co-op feels fantastic. It's over a lot quicker. They haven't added extra enemies in the levels to kind of quote unquote balance it out, but I kind of don't mind that, especially like it encourages you to go into those harder difficulty levels because you've now got a friend to help you out, and it's very, very enjoyable. It's also great testing out different weapon styles, which was a big thing when you were playing alone. Like, what do you prefer, the sword, the battle axe, the hammer, or the claws? And having two people have two different weapons is a really interesting dynamic because you get to see how it all works. And I played this with one of my housemates, and I honestly completely understand why they decided to make it purely couch co-op, because it is a lovely experience when you're sitting next to somebody. It's somewhat silent, but in a good way, because you're really, really focused, but there's also like the back and forth that you have, like, oh, I'm going to go cut trees once we get back to the cult, and oh, I'm going to go harvest berries. And
do cult leaders know they're running a cult?
Oh, totally.
Or to them, is it just the village?
To me, it's the cult. Okay. And to my co-cult leader, it's the cult. Another cool thing, because it's a roguelite, every run is, fresh and different, and a big part of it is the cards that you get from Clowneck. And with this version of the game, usually you're given the option of choosing between two of the cards, and because there's two of you, you each get a card.
Yeah, right.
So,
Right.
instead of choosing one and then the other one goes away, you choose one and your partner gets the other one.
So you're doubling up both your abilities or powers or perks
Yes,
or buffs,
the
as well as having an extra sword in the fight.
Yeah, the only thing is like certain, like if you pick a card that's only applies to you, it will only apply to you. But they've added new cards that would obviously only work if there are two people. One of my favorite ones, which we saw earlier, is like this chain link, where wherever you and your partner are, like if you get that card, the best thing to do is to be on separate sides of the map, because there is a chain that happens between you, and anytime the enemies hit it, they get damage.
Yeah, cool.
So it makes you strategize with your partner, which is really, really dope. But ultimately, it is still it's still the same experience. There's
this the
just
chain
two of
here?
you
That
now.
what
That's
I'm
the
looking at?
chain
Yeah,
there.
cool. Yeah,
It is fantastic. So I told my housemate, I'm like, you move to the other side, I'll move to this side, and we can hit him. What I was trying to do was get
So
him
what
in the
you
middle
said
of
to
it.
what you said to your housemate was, you run across the room and I'll just stay at the door that we walked in.
Yeah.
Lazy.
Strategizing.
How does this is obviously the dungeon crawling stuff we're seeing here. When you get back to the cult, if we the scrub forward. How does that work in terms of you both on the screen and screen management? Are you just both kind of locked to a proximity of how far you can walk away? Like, how much can you both be doing?
Well, if we go to separate sides of the map, I don't think you can see it in this footage, but if you're at separate sides of the map, like, it zooms all the way out.
Sure, I just meant when you talk about the microtasks of or microtasking, all the things you need to do when you're back.
Shoveling poo and
Yeah, it's like you're both doing just something that's a one little interaction. No one, if you want to go into the temple or something, you've got to both head in there and do it together. So there is, okay, right.
Yeah. So
it looks like as soon as a player goes through a door, you both get pulled through.
Yeah.
I meant more for when you're back at the base. Like, how
if someone goes into a room that is going to be a loading screen, you both get pulled.
I think it's funny because dungeon crawling in a pair is like you both have the same objective. It's like fight, let's move on. When you get back to base, part of me in those games is town management, and it's sort of like for me, I have in my head what I want to do. So how is that fun strategizing with the second person, being like, okay, we're back here now. Let's start cleaning up.
Messing your shit up.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It feels like a perfect co-op experience couch co-op experience in the sense that once you get back to the town, you are always talking.
Yeah.
Because you're always discussing what you're going to do next in terms of organizing stuff and farming and whatnot. So
I guess it's just like you're verbalizing your management of what you'll be doing as a solo player and having an extra set of hands. It's just that's what I mean. It obviously works. It's not difficult to be like, no, let's go and focus on this. I want to build more tents at this point. And someone else is like, I'm running over here because I want to work on the shrine or something like that. It actually does, yeah.
It feels fantastic.
Sure.
It feels like such a good co-op experience, and I'm always looking for more and more couch co-op games to play.
Is it just drop in, drop out from any point in your save? Like, or is this something that you have to start?
The only thing is if you're starting from the very beginning, which is what we did, you got to get through the intro scene, which is the lamb going to get sacrificed, and then it gets brought back to life by the one who waits. And then once you start fighting the followers, at that point, the goat can jump in.
Gotcha. And if you had a save halfway through, you could now essentially incorporate the second player?
Yeah, it is cool. Jump in, jump out. It is really, really cool. It's a little thing, but I love the goat's design. I think it just looks absolutely delightful. Like it looks different. I will say I have a bad habit of looking at the other character while I'm playing and then losing myself. But I think they look distinct enough that doesn't happen all the time. And I think that's really, really great. Game looks beautiful. There are so many things that I could say about Cult of the Lamb as a whole that I've already said, so I won't go over it. But it was one of my favorite games. No, wrong. It was my favorite game of 2022. And this has just added a whole new exciting element to it.
I guess a big thing for you would be introducing people to it as well.
Absolutely.
That's a
this
great
has been perfect because my housemate / bestie / wife, of course, she had played it before and she had gotten pretty far, but she hadn't finished it. And this kind of helped her get back into the groove of it again.
Yeah.
This is the perfect way to show anybody Cult of the Lamb, and I want to show Cult of the Lamb to everybody.
Nice.
I think my big issue is, though, as a cult leader, I don't want to share that role.
Oh, so understandable.
I think that's what Gus was alluding to before about town management and going like, he's very particular.
I'd be like, we're both going to be cult
wild.
leaders, but you listen to everything.
It'd be wild if at the end game of this, you just turn around and go, and just take out your goat.
It adds a very interesting element of when it comes to choosing, the doctrines that are going to happen in the cult and like whether or not you should sacrifice somebody.
Could you fight over this?
It's a conversation that you're having in person, which I find so interesting. I think the cooperation of that is so well. That's the thing. It's like, in what cult is there cooperation? Like that's what makes it so funny. Those are sentences
I want to hear yelled from your share house in the living room.
In what cult?
In what cult
is there cooperation?
I just think it's delightful.
Fantastic.
I think it is to me the perfect couch co-op experience.
Yeah, great.
And I would recommend it for anybody wanting to play a game with a friend.
Lovely.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.